The neon lights above Brooklyn Market buzzed faintly, flickering in that tired way they always did on chilly weeknights. The city had already started winding down. Taxis slowed, storefronts dimmed, and the bitter wind whipped down the narrow streets like it had a purpose. But inside the corner store, warmth lived. Behind the worn checkout counter stood Darius Thompson, 27, clean-shaven, with a quiet smile that somehow never left his face. His red apron had a small tear near the pocket, and his name tag was scratched from years of wear. But none of that mattered. What people remembered about Darius wasn't what he wore. It was how he made them feel. Every customer got the same gentle greeting. "How's your daughter doing, Mr. Jensen?" "You back on your feet, Miss Carla?" "You still drinking that nasty chamomile, Ms. Lorraine?" He knew them. He saw them. And in a world that often moved too fast, Darius slowed down, just enough to remind people they mattered. He didn't make much. 5 years at Brooklyn Market and his paycheck barely kept the lights on in his small apartment. But he never complained. He saved where he could, sent his mom half his check every 2 weeks, and dreamed of opening a tiny cafe someday. A place with soul. A place where folks could feel like they belonged. That night, the bell above the door jingled, and a gust of cold air blew in with an older man hunched in a fraying coat. His shoes were scuffed, and his gloves had holes in the fingertips. He wandered through the aisles, eyes scanning shelves not for wants, but for needs. Darius watched with quiet attention. When the man came to the counter with bread, milk, and a protein bar, he placed a crumpled $5 bill and some coins on the counter. "I'll just put this one back," the man mumbled, reaching for the protein bar. Darius didn't even blink. "Nah, I got it," he said softly, scanning all 3 items. "Everybody needs a little help sometimes." The man stared. No words, just disbelief. And in that moment, Darius thought it was nothing. Just another act of kindness. Just another day. He had no idea who was standing in front of him. Not yet. Nathaniel Carter sat silently in the driver's seat of his charcoal black Lincoln, parked just across the street from Brooklyn Market. The warmth from the heater barely touched the chill he felt inside. The brown paper bag sat in the passenger seat like it held something sacred. He hadn't meant to be there. The truth was, Nathaniel had been restless for months. CEO of Carter Retail Group, worth billions, headlines, interviews, executive retreats. But lately, none of it felt real. His board praised profit margins. His shareholders worshipped quarterly growth. But Nathaniel? He felt like a ghost in his own empire. So he went undercover. No cameras, no TV show, no staged meetings. Just him, a worn coat, and a pocket full of small bills. He wanted to see, really see, how things were going at ground level. Not from spreadsheets, but from the floor. He had visited 3 stores already that week. Anonymous, quiet, observant. All Carter retail locations. All sterile. Employees moved like cogs. Smiles were forced. Eyes tired. Managers barking about shelf displays and productivity metrics. Not once had anyone looked him in the eye. But Brooklyn Market was different. It wasn't even one of his stores. He had wandered in by accident, chilled to the bone, needing something to eat. He was embarrassed to come up short at the register, heart sinking when he realized the protein bar pushed him over budget. He expected coldness, pity maybe. But instead, he met Darius, a man who didn't flinch, didn't judge, didn't hesitate, just smiled and covered the difference. No questions, no condescension, just kindness. Nathaniel hadn't felt that in years. Now, as he stared at the storefront from the safety of his car, his hands trembled slightly against the steering wheel. He was supposed to be the one in control, the one with all the answers. But tonight, the cashier behind the counter had taught him something no boardroom ever could. He looked down at the receipt. 3 items. $6.72. A debt far bigger than dollars. Nathaniel leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes. Darius Thompson. A name he'd never forget. Tomorrow, he decided, he'd come back. Not as a stranger looking for groceries, but as a man looking for something he'd lost. The next evening, Nathaniel Carter returned to Brooklyn Market. Not in disguise this time, but still anonymous. The same jacket, same beanie, same quiet presence. But this time, his eyes weren't scanning shelves. They were watching. He stepped inside as the bell above the door chimed. It smelled the same. Clean floors, a hint of citrus cleaner, stale bread from the bakery rack, and the warmth of something that didn't come in a bottle. Familiarity. The store wasn't much. A little cramped, fluorescent lights humming above like they were barely holding on. But Nathaniel had walked through marble-floored flagship stores that felt colder than this place. He drifted down the aisles, pretending to browse. But really, he was watching Darius. Darius was behind the counter again, hands steady, voice kind. He greeted every customer like they were a neighbor, not a transaction. "Hey, Mrs. P, they finally restocked your peach jam. Mr. Rudy, you're out past curfew again," he teased gently, helping an elderly man count change. Then a mother with two restless kids entered. The youngest knocked a can off a low shelf, sending it clattering to the floor. Darius didn't blink. He stepped from behind the counter, picked it up, and gave the boy a wink. "Happens to the best of us, little man." Nathaniel watched all of this unfold like a scene in a movie. And then, something else happened. A teenager walked in, tall, hoodie up, eyes darting. Nervous. First-time shoplifter nervous. He grabbed a soda and a bag of chips, then fumbled awkwardly with a few dollar bills. Darius didn't say a word. He rang up the soda and let the chips slide. Nathaniel saw it. So did the teen. He paused, looked up at Darius. "Thanks," he mumbled. Darius just nodded. "Get home safe." Nathaniel felt something tighten in his chest. This wasn't a fluke. This was who Darius was. Day in, day out. Unnoticed, uncelebrated, underpaid. And yet he gave more heart in 10 minutes behind that counter than Nathaniel had seen in years of executive meetings and corporate slogans. This man didn't just run a register. He held up an entire community. Nathaniel knew then it wasn't enough to just watch. Change had to come. But first, he had to see what Darius faced when no one thought they were being watched. The bell above the door jingled again, but this time, the energy shifted. Nathaniel looked up from a shelf of cereal boxes just in time to see a man step inside. Short, stocky, with slicked-back blonde hair and a smug expression that said he'd never worked a hard day in his life. His cheap suit screamed corporate middle management. His eyes scanned the room with the casual arrogance of someone who thought he was the most important person there. Nathaniel recognized the type instantly. The man strutted past a short line of customers and headed straight to the counter, cutting in like he owned the place. Darius, still smiling and calm, nodded politely. "Evening, Mr. Lively." So that was him, the manager. Lively barely gave a nod. He reached into his coat pocket and tossed a folded piece of paper on the counter, like it was garbage. "Payroll's locked," he said flatly. "No raises this quarter." Nathaniel's stomach twisted. He watched Darius's hand pause ever so slightly as it reached for the paper. His eyes flicked down. Just a breath. Then, like flipping a switch, he nodded. "Understood?" Darius said quietly. Lively smirked. "Didn't think you'd push back. Smart. Some of your kind don't know when to quit." The words landed like a slap. Nathaniel's heart dropped. The phrase, so casual, so venomous, hung in the air like a foul stench. Darius didn't react. Not with words. Not with anger. He stood there, jaw set, eyes calm. He folded the paper neatly and tucked it under the register. Then he rang up the next customer as if nothing had happened. But Nathaniel saw it. He saw the flicker of pain behind Darius's eyes, the silent breath, the way his spine straightened, just slightly, the way his voice steadied like a man who'd had to bite his tongue too many times in life. And Nathaniel, billionaire, boss, founder, felt shame. Not for what Lively had said, but for what he had allowed. This was his company's culture, his empire. He had built it from the ground up, and somewhere along the way, he'd let it rot. Something snapped in Nathaniel's chest. Tomorrow, the hammer would fall. Nathaniel didn't sleep that night. He lay in his penthouse, the skyline of the city glittering beyond floor-to-ceiling windows. But all he could see was that look in Darius's eyes. That tight, quiet pain. The kind a man gets used to carrying, the kind that never leaves, no matter how many smiles you layer over it. Some of your kind don't know when to quit. The words repeated in his head like a broken alarm. By 6 a.m., he was in his office. By 8, he'd summoned his executives. They shuffled into the long, glass-walled conference room, clutching their coffees and clipboards, thinking this would be another routine quarterly review. They had no idea. Nathaniel didn't bother with pleasantries. "I want full payroll reports for every store in the region," he said, standing at the head of the table. "Turnover rates, raise denials, complaint logs. I want names, dates, reasons a few blinked. One of them, a regional VP with a slick tie and practiced smile, spoke up nervously. "Sir, is this about the media reports? We're working on a response." "No," Nathaniel interrupted. "This is about Lively." Silence dropped like a stone. "And it's about every other manager like him," Nathaniel continued, his voice colder now. "The ones who think leadership means stepping on the people who keep this company alive." He stepped closer to the table, voice rising just slightly. "We built this empire on the backs of hard-working people. People like Darius Thompson." Some of them looked confused. Others looked scared. "He works at a small store in Brooklyn. Not one of ours. Not yet. But he reminded me what this company used to stand for." A long pause. "If I find even one more policy that puts profits before people, I'll start firing from the top down." A few pens dropped. Someone cleared their throat. No one spoke. "You have 24 hours, Nathaniel said. "Don't waste them." He walked out without another word. But this time, he wasn't going back to a boardroom or a mansion. He was going back to the only place that felt real in months. Back to Brooklyn Market. Not to buy groceries, but to rewrite someone's future. That evening, the Brooklyn sky was a deep orange, fading into soft blue as the sun slipped behind the old buildings. Nathaniel stood across the street again, coat buttoned up tight, the wind tugging at his collar. But this time, he wasn't hiding. He wasn't observing. He was ready. He stepped into Brooklyn Market just as the bell above the door gave its familiar chime. Inside, everything looked the same. The floors still had scuff marks. The shelves still leaned slightly. That citrus disinfectant still hung faint in the air. But tonight, something was different. Darius looked up from the register as Nathaniel approached. Recognition flashed in his eyes. Subtle, cautious. "Back again?" Darius asked, voice calm but curious. Nathaniel smiled. "Yeah. Thought I should actually pay for my groceries this time." Darius chuckled softly but said nothing more. Nathaniel reached into his coat and pulled out a sleek, embossed business card. He placed it on the counter, gently sliding it across. Darius glanced down and froze. The name on the card practically glowed under the harsh store lights. Nathaniel Carter, CEO, Carter Retail Group. For a moment, Darius didn't speak. His face was unreadable. Shock, suspicion, disbelief, all of it. I should have introduced myself properly that first night, Nathaniel said, his voice steady. Darius stared at him. You're the CEO? Nathaniel nodded. In the flesh. Silence again. I saw what happened with your manager, Nathaniel continued. I heard what he said, and I saw how you handled it, with more grace than most people would. Darius's jaw tensed slightly, but he stayed silent. You deserve better, Nathaniel said, reaching into his coat once more. This time he pulled out a folded letter and laid it beside the card. That's a job offer. Full benefits, competitive salary, and a new role, head of community outreach and employee wellness. You'd be helping shape how we treat our workers going forward. Darius looked stunned. Why me? Nathaniel gave a quiet smile. Because you reminded me of the kind of man I used to be, and the kind of man I should have been fighting for all along. Darius looked down at the paper, fingers twitching toward it. But he didn't take it. Not yet. Instead, he met Nathaniel's eyes and asked softly, You offering this because I helped you, or because you actually believe in what you're saying? Nathaniel didn't hesitate. Both, but mostly the second. Darius studied him, the weight of years, hope, and hesitation all flickering in his eyes. He didn't say yes, but for the first time in years, he let himself hope. And for Nathaniel Carter, that was enough. For now.